and Thais from 90 Day Fiancé have been quite the topic of discussion the past few weeks, especially leading up to this new season of 90 Day The Last Resort, especially after it came out that Patrick was divorcing Thais, and in divorce documents it was revealed by TMZ that Patrick wanted sole custody of their daughter, and I guess this was news to Thais, and after she found that out, she wasn't very happy with Patrick. Well, I guess apparently she was planning to go to Brazil on May 22nd, so Patrick decided to bring their daughter over to Thais' place to say bye to Thais before she left for Brazil. But next thing you know, one thing led to another, and Patrick ended up calling the police, telling the police that Thais allegedly slapped him. He told the police that he needed them for a domestic battery case, so the police showed up, and once they showed up, he explained to the police, like, yeah, I just served Thais with divorce papers 2 days ago and went to her home today to let our daughter say goodbye before she leaves for Brazil, her native country. And Patrick claimed that whenever he showed up, Patrick became, or why do I keep mixing their names up? Thais became upset when he was in the home, and an argument ended up erupting, and next thing you know, Thais got physical during the argument. She walked up to him and she slapped him on the left side of his face with an open right hand, and I guess Patrick, according to the arrest report that TMZ obtained, Patrick got video of this. So I'm actually kind of shocked to learn that they ended up throwing these charges out when there's documented video of this. The police officers ended up checking out Patrick, and they said that he had marks on the left side of his face, which matched up with the story that Patrick provided police, that Thais had slapped him on the side of his left face with an open hand. And they ended up taking Thais to the side, and Thais was like, no, I was only hitting him because I was defending myself. She was trying to act like Patrick was the aggressor and possibly trying to get Patrick arrested, but they ended up finding enough evidence that was showing that Patrick was the victim, not her, and it was showing that she was the aggressor, so they ended up placing her under arrest. But once they ended up showing the arrest report and all the documents to the DA, they decided not to pursue criminal charges against Thais, but they can always pick up those charges later on in the future. As someone who's been covering cases for over 5 years, it seems like when they don't end up pursuing charges, it seems like more often, they don't end up pursuing charges at all at a later date. There's more times that we'll see them not pursue it than we'll actually see them end up re-pursuing it. When the police took Patrick aside, he said that Thais was controlling, which I found that interesting because Thais was trying to make this narrative that he was the controlling one when they're on 90 Day Diaries and saying, oh, she couldn't even go anywhere without him blowing her up, or she couldn't turn him down for sex without him automatically assuming that she was cheating on him. Entertainment Tonight just came out with an interview that they did with Patrick and Thais, and I guess this was an interview they did with them like right at the beginning of The Last Resort. And so they had to even put in like quotations of the interview. This is before they announced their split. But Patrick at the time was saying, yeah, we're having issues and I just feel like we're growing apart. And he said that he's scared that they're going to grow apart so much that it's going to be hard to come back from that. And he said they're having issues with communication, trust, and sex. Of course, he always has to bring up sex. And I don't know what the whole trust issues are because he didn't really elaborate on that, but a lot of the communication, Thais was blaming it on the language barrier, and she said that she has worked on her English, and I will give it to her. In this interview, she's speaking a lot better English than she ever has, so you can tell she's been working hard on it. But you can still tell there's kind of a disconnect when it comes to their communication. And he just keeps saying, yeah, our sex life is just not the same anymore. It's so different now. I mean, I get it, but that's also what happens when you have a kid. You can't sit there and bang 5-6 times a day like freaking wild rabbits. You gotta focus on that kid and just get it in when you can. That's where you gotta kind of get creative. Wait till the kid goes to bed, go in the shower. You know, you gotta still find ways, but it can't be like the number one focus. Patrick said at the time of this interview that he wanted to grow his family, but he admitted that having one child was already a lot for both of them. It was a lot more than they thought it was going to be. It's been taxing on both of them, and he said with both of the goals that they want in life, having another child really doesn't line up with it. And he's able, and so is Thais, they're both mature enough to be like, hey, we're not in a good place right now. This probably isn't the best time to bring another child into the situation, which that's good, because some people, you know, they'll be having the worst times of their relationship or marriage, and they think, oh, I can just have a baby and it's gonna fix it all, or it's gonna divert all our attention to this baby. But all you're doing is just bringing an innocent baby to deal with unhealed trauma that you have going on in your relationship or your marriage. And thank God now, knowing that they're getting divorced, that they didn't decide to have this other baby. And then they were asked about how they're getting along with people at the last resort, and Patrick said, look, for the boys, it's like a boys club. We're all buddy, there's no drama. But for the girls, it's been a lot of drama for the girls that we're gonna see this season. And they showed a clip between Thais and Shekinah. You know, and Shekinah and Thais have been beefing a lot on social media, especially after it came out that Thais got arrested for DV. And Shekinah was calling out Thais, saying she needed to leave the country and this and that. And there was even a scene that they showed for this season of Last Resort where she tells Thais that she needs to go back to her country. Well, I think this clip that they showed is where all the drama started. So Shekinah walks up to Thais and she's like, hey, so I noticed you don't follow me on Instagram, and I just want to know why. And Thais was like, she really didn't have a reason. She's like, I don't follow you. You know, it's not a big deal. And I guess Shekinah really took that personal, and she's like, oh, so there isn't a reason. I just want to know. If there's a reason, tell me now. And Thais just kind of shrugged her shoulders, and I think from there on, that kind of started some kind of beef between Shekinah and Thais in Shekinah's head. And I really don't think it's that big of a deal if you don't follow someone. There's 90 Day cast members I don't follow, and I blog these people. There's some people that I just feel like either spam the feed too much, or they post things where I don't feel like I'm getting anything from their profile, or you follow someone and they haven't posted in 2 or 3 years. I'm like, okay, what's the point of following you if you don't even post anything? Hell, every 6 months or so, I go through my Instagram follow list and I trim it down, because if I start following way too many people, then I start missing out on posts from people that I actually really want to see, and I don't want that to happen. So it could have just been a case of that, but for Shekinah to get all butthurt over it is a little much. It's not that deep at the end of the day. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below, and shout out to TMZ for the info about the arrest of Thais. I guess they got the arrest report. I was going to try to request it myself, but after I found out that the charges got dropped, I just thought, what's the point? But since it came out that Patrick was saying she slapped him and he had a video and all that, I thought it was worth mentioning. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.